The first thing Sophia noticed was the silence. Not the gentle kind. The heavy kind. The kind that sits on your chest and makes you breathe carefully so you don't disturb it. Marble floors. Lemon-polished banisters. A piano that hadn't been touched in years. And a boy standing at the window, watching the city like it might swallow him whole. Michael Hale. 10 years old. Nonverbal since he was 3. Hair neat. Eyes restless. He flinched at loud voices but didn't blink at the sirens far below. His father was Robert Hale, the billionaire who bought problems the way most people buy coffee. 3 words followed him everywhere. Ruthless, brilliant, untouchable. Sophia's shoes made soft whispers on the floor. She paused 2 steps behind Michael and didn't speak. That was important. She just took a slow breath and let it out. 1, 2, 3. Silence. Then she tapped the wooden frame of the window. Gentle. A rhythm you'd use to calm a frightened bird. Michael's shoulders eased. He tapped back. 1, 2. Hi, she whispered, like you whisper to a skittish horse. I'm Sophia. He didn't look at her, but he tapped again. 1, 2, 3. A conversation without words. Have you ever felt a door open that you didn't even know was there? Down the hall, someone cleared their throat. Emma Clark, the house manager, watched with a thin smile. Don't get your hopes up, she said later. 7 nannies tried. He doesn't change. Sophia smiled anyway. People change every day, she said. We just don't always see it. That night, a storm rolled in over the glass roof. Thunder curled through the mansion like a warning. And in the morning, 2 diamond cufflinks were gone. Whispers stirred. Eyes turned. Rich people didn't say the word, thief. They just let it hover. Sophia felt the air shift against her skin. Do you know that feeling, when you haven't done anything wrong, but your heart beats like you did? A beat. In the corner of the security room, a camera monitor flickered. Frame. Skip. Frame. Skip. Someone had edited the night. But who? By noon, Robert's voice cut through the house like a blade. In my office. Now. Sophia wiped her hands on her apron and looked back at the window where Michael stood. He tapped once. Then twice. Then he pressed his palm to the glass like a quiet promise. Have you ever wished you could reassure someone with a single touch? Sophia walked toward the office. The storm wasn't outside anymore. It was inside. And it had her name on it. What would you do if the richest man in the city decided you were the problem? Would you speak? Would you run? Or would you hold your ground and pray the truth could still be heard through all that silence? Because this silence was about to break. And when it did, the whole city would listen. Sophia learned the house by sound. The elevator whispered. The kitchen hummed. The hall clocks argued by 3 seconds. Michael's room was quiet as snowfall, except for the soft scrape of crayons and the tap-tap patterns he used like Morse code for feelings. She matched him rhythm for rhythm. Calm for calm. Breakfast, she said one morning, setting down warm bread and honey. Steam curled up. He leaned in. In that tiny movement was trust. Do you ever notice how courage can look like something small? A bite. A glance. A breath you don't hold. Emma appeared in the doorway, arms folded. He likes routine, she snapped. Don't change things. I won't, Sophia said. She kept her voice low. Gentle. We'll make our own routine. Michael tapped twice. Then 3 times. He slid a drawing across the table. Blue piano keys, a window, a small stick figure with a round bun of hair. Her bun. It was a hello. It was everything. The mansion staff moved around her like ghosts. John Mercer from legal whispering into his phone. Drivers, florists, chefs, people who knew how to be invisible around money. Watch yourself, one of the gardeners murmured as he passed. New hires don't last. Why? She asked. He nodded toward the top-floor office. Because Mr. Hale never forgets a mistake. That afternoon, Robert Hale descended the stairs like a verdict. Gray suit. Cufflinks that winked like eyes. "You're the new one," he said. "Sophia Reyes," she replied. He looked at her hands. At the plain shoes. At the careful way she stood. "Emma says the boy tolerates you." His gaze slid past her to Michael. "Better than nothing." Then, sharper, "Keep him away from me during calls." Sophia felt heat in her cheeks. "He's your son," she said before she could stop herself. Robert's eyes hardened. "He's my responsibility, not my schedule." Michael tapped 3 quick beats. Sophia tapped back. It was a small rebellion. A bridge. Have you ever spoken without words and felt more heard? That night, thunder wove in the rafters. Cameras blinked red along the ceilings. Somewhere, a door opened and shut. In the morning, Emma's scream tore through the kitchen. The cufflinks! Mr. Hale's anniversary set. Staff gathered. Feet shuffled. Stairs landed. "Check the new girl's room," someone muttered. Sophia's heart thudded. "I didn't." "Then you won't mind if we look," Emma said, cool as glass. Drawers yanked. Closet searched. Nothing. But Emma wasn't done. "Security room," she told a guard. "Let's see who was where." The footage stuttered. 1:03 a.m. frame. 1:04 a.m. skip. "Someone edited this," the guard frowned. John Mercer stepped in, tie loosened, eyes sharp. "Convenient," he said, staring at Sophia. "No record. No alibi." Robert arrived last. He didn't shout. The quiet was worse. "You'll remain on probation until this is resolved," he said. "One more shadow, and you're gone." Sophia fought to breathe. Michael stood in the hall, watching. He touched his throat, then his chest. He was trying to say something. But nothing came. Have you ever seen the truth trapped behind someone's lips? Sophia felt the house lean away from her, like even the walls believed money more than people. She put a hand on the counter to steady herself. The marble was cold. The storm inside the mansion had found its lightning rod. And it had chosen her. Sophia refused to disappear. She built mornings with harmony, toast crunch, kettle hush, the soft whistle of air through cracked windows. A metronome on the kitchen table ticked gently. Tick, tick, tick. "You can press it," she told Michael. "Fast for excited. Slow for calm." He pressed fast. Then slow. Then fast again. His eyes laughed. "Do you remember your first inside joke with someone? That private thread?" She showed him hand signs for simple words. Eat. Water. Safe. She matched them with pictures on a small board. Evelyn Hart, the school speech therapist who visited monthly, found them in the closet, dust-heavy and forgotten. "Use these," Evelyn said, kneeling to Michael's level. "You can choose. You can say yes. You can say no." Her voice was sunlight. Michael pressed safe. Then tapped twice. He showed Sophia a sketch, a woman's hand slipping into a desk drawer. The bracelet on the wrist had tiny triangles. Emma's. Sophia's breath hitched. "Did you see someone take the cufflinks?" He tapped once. He drew another line. A keypad. 4 numbers. 1-1-0-3. 1:03 a.m., Evelyn whispered. "The gap in the footage." "Michael," Sophia said gently, "this is important. But it's also dangerous." "Okay." He pressed safe again. Then pressed Sophia on the board. His eyes begged, "Believe me." Downstairs, Emma was all tight smiles. "Stick to cleaning," she told Sophia. "The boy is delicate. Don't fill his head with ideas." Isn't it strange how people call control care? Sophia carried the sketch to the security guard. "He saw something," she said. The guard frowned. "Kid never speaks. He doesn't need to speak to see." A beat. He shrugged. Mr. Hale won't waste time on crayon stories. That night, someone slipped a velvet pouch beneath Sophia's pillow. Cufflinks. Her stomach plunged. She touched them with the tips of her fingers, like they might bite. If she told anyone, it would look like she planned the return. If she kept them, it would look worse. She turned, heart pounding, and found Michael at the door, small and pale. He lifted his hands. Not signs. Shaking. He pointed to the security camera in the hallway. The red light was off. No recording. Do you know the smell of fear? It's metallic. It lives at the back of your tongue. Okay, she whispered. We stay calm. In the morning, Emma found the pouch under Sophia's mattress. Gasps. A chorus of soft, cruel satisfaction. I'm calling Mr. Hale, Emma announced. This ends now. Robert arrived like a storm in a suit. Police, he said into his phone. Now. Look at the footage, Sophia begged. Ask Evelyn. Ask. She is a maid, Emma cut in. And he is a child. Michael stepped forward. He pressed the safe button so hard it squeaked. He pointed, frantic, at Emma's bracelet. Triangles. Then he tapped 1-1-0-3 on the metronome base. Robert stared at his son. Something sharp flickered in his face. Enough, he snapped. To Sophia, you violated my house. Sophia stood straighter. I would never hurt your family. You just did, he said coldly. By staying. 2 officers escorted her out. The mansion door closed like a jaw. Have you ever felt a door shut and knew a chapter of your life was trapped on the other side? The elevator numbers fell. 10, 9, 8. Sophia pressed her palm to the wall and prayed truth would find its way into a room where money decided everything. Because the next room would be a courtroom. Courtrooms smell like old wood and arguments. Sophia stood at the defendant's table in a borrowed blouse and steady shoes. She kept her shoulders square, her hands calm. Inside, her heart counted seconds. Evelyn Hart found her before the hearing. I called a friend, she said. Public interest lawyer. She's good. That friend was also named Evelyn. Evelyn Hart, Esquire, a coincidence that made Sophia smile for the first time in days. People mix us up constantly, the lawyer Evelyn laughed. Today, that's good luck. Across the aisle sat Robert Hale with John Mercer, his star attorney. John's cufflinks shone like tiny suns. Emma whispered between them, eyes bright with purpose. Case number 29874, the clerk called. State versus Sophia Reyes. Evelyn rose. Your Honor, she said to Judge John Alden. Yes, another John. This courthouse had a sense of humor. My client maintains her innocence. We ask the court to consider new evidence and the testimony of a key witness. John Mercer's smile was a blade. A child who does not speak. And drawings that could be anyone's. He turned to the jury. This is theft. Plain and simple. Isn't it wild how certainty can be so loud? Evelyn placed a small device on the table. This is Michael's communication board, she said. He uses it daily. This, she held up the sketch, is his account of the night in question. Judge Alden peered over his glasses. Does the child comprehend an oath? He understands truth and safety, Evelyn said. And he understands when someone he trusts is being harmed. A door opened. Michael walked in holding Evelyn the therapist's hand. He wore his school blazer. His shoes were too clean. His eyes searched, found Sophia, and softened. Have you ever seen someone step into a place that terrifies them? For you? Robert flinched. No, he said. He won't. He may. The judge interrupted. If he wants to. Michael approached the witness stand. He pressed safe. Then Sophia. He tapped the railing. 1-1-0-3. He pointed at Emma's wrist. Triangles. The courtroom was a held breath. John Mercer rose. Objection. Speculation. Overruled, Judge Alden said softly. Let him continue. Michael took a crumpled paper from his pocket. Another drawing. A keypad. A hand with a triangle bracelet. A small rectangle. A portable camera. He pointed to it. Then to Emma. Then to the ceiling, where cameras should have been on. He mimed a flicking motion. Off. Evelyn leaned in. Michael, can you show us where the camera was turned off? He pointed at a courtroom camera and pressed off on his board. The device chirped. Tiny. Clear. Robert's jaw tightened. For a heartbeat, the ruthless man looked like a scared father. Michael, he said, voice low. Stop. Michael glanced at him. Then, at Sophia. His hand shook. He pressed help. Have you felt a room tilt? Like gravity chose sides? Your Honor, Evelyn said, steady as bedrock, we request a brief recess to obtain the security company's maintenance logs and Emma Clark's access codes. There will be time stamps. John Mercer scoffed. Fishing expedition. Judge Alden tapped his pen. You'll get 1 hour. People stood. Voices rose. Sophia turned back once before the bailiff guided her out. Michael was still on the stand, small and brave. He lifted his palm. She lifted hers. A beat. What would you do if the one person who never spoke found the words to fight for you? Sophia's hour had started. The truth had a crack to climb through. But would that be enough? When the court reconvened, the air felt thinner. Evelyn had a printout, edges warm from the machine. Maintenance logs, she said. Camera 3A disabled at 1:02 a.m., enabled at 1:05 a.m., keyed from a staff badge. She faced Emma. Ms. Clark, please show the court your bracelet. Emma's hand hovered. Then she lifted it. Triangles winked under the lights. Do you deny entering Mr. Hale's office at 1:03 a.m.? Evelyn asked. Emma's lips thinned. I went to check the window. Wind. The footage shows the window closed. Evelyn's voice stayed gentle. Just answer the question. John Mercer protested. The defense is on a witch hunt. Judge Alden raised a hand. Let her finish. Evelyn held up another paper. We also have badge data. Yours, Ms. Clark. 1:03 a.m. office. 1:04 a.m. security room. Emma's eyes flicked to Robert. To John. Back to the judge. The system is wrong, she snapped. Systems can fail, Evelyn agreed softly. But so can people. Sophia felt the floor steady under her feet for the first time in days. Then John Mercer called Robert to the stand. Mr. Hale, he said, why did you call the police? Robert's gaze was stone. Because the cufflinks were found in Ms. Reyes's room. Who found them? Evelyn asked. Emma, Robert said. Who decided the boy's drawings were worthless? Evelyn pressed. Robert's mouth tightened. I did. So you believed a manager you've known 2 years over a child you've known 10, Evelyn said. Not cruel. Just true. Michael shifted at the witness stand. His fingers trembled. He pressed safe. Sophia. Safe. The device chirped, insistent. Then he tried something he hadn't done in years. He opened his mouth. The first sound was a scrape. A breath. Then a shape of a word that seemed too big for his throat. S. He stopped. He looked at Sophia. She shook her head softly. No pressure. Just love. He swallowed. The room leaned in. Stop, he rasped. Emma froze. Michael's voice shook, but he pressed through. Stop lying. The courtroom cracked open. Gasps rose like birds. Robert actually stood. He didn't seem to remember doing it. He just did. His son's voice had yanked him to his feet. Michael pressed help and pointed at Sophia. Safe, he said again, clearer. Sophia, safe. Have you ever felt a word land like a lighthouse beam? Evelyn stepped forward, gentle as rain. "Michael, did you see who took the cufflinks?" He nodded. He pointed at Emma. He lifted the drawing. Triangles. Keypad. Camera off. Emma's mask slipped. Fury flickered. "I was protecting this house," she blurted. "From her. From all of you bleeding hearts who think kindness fixes everything." Robert's voice was a broken chord. "Emma," she snapped. "You're weak around him." "Bailiff," Judge Alden said softly. As Emma was escorted out, the quiet rolled back in. Not heavy. New. Alive. Robert sat slowly. His eyes were wet. Maybe from shock. Maybe from a decade of all the things he hadn't said. He looked at Sophia. "I'm sorry," he whispered. The words sounded rusty. Unused. "Do you believe apologies heal? Or only actions?" Judge Alden cleared his throat. "Charges dismissed," he ruled. "Ms. Reyes is free to go. Further investigation into Ms. Clark's conduct is ordered." Sophia exhaled a breath she'd been holding since the storm began. But storms leave debris. And the hardest work starts after the thunder. They met in the piano room, the one that hadn't been played in years. Dust still held the last song on its surface. Outside, rain had given the city that clean, metallic smell. The windows wore it like jewelry. Michael sat on the bench. He touched one key. Then, another. He didn't press. He just felt the cool of them. Sophia stood a few steps back. She didn't fill the room with words. She waited. Silence. Robert entered, not as a tycoon, but as a father who'd just heard his child for the first time in 7 years. He stopped at the doorway. "I don't know how to." He gestured at the air, like the air could explain. Sophia nodded. "One step," she said softly. "One rhythm." He took a breath. "I believed the wrong person." "Belief is a habit," she said. "So is doubt." He laughed, a small, surprised sound. "You're braver than I am." "I'm cheaper," she smiled. "You had more to lose." Michael looked between them. He lifted his board. Safe. He pressed Dad. The device chirped. He pressed play. Then he placed Robert's hand on the piano. "Do you know the way your chest aches when hope stands up?" Robert's eyes shone. "Do you want to learn?" he asked. Michael nodded. Evelyn, the therapist, joined them twice a week. The house changed. Not with shouting. With rhythm. The metronome ticked in the living room now. The kitchen smelled like cinnamon on Sundays. Staff spoke softer. People listened. Even the elevator seemed to sigh less. John Mercer came by with updates on Emma. "She'll face charges," he said. "I should have looked harder." "Then look harder next time," Sophia replied. "At all the times the quiet people are telling you something you don't want to hear." "Fair," he said, and meant it. Robert asked Sophia to stay. "Not as a maid," he added awkwardly. "As whatever you are. A translator. A teacher. A compass." Sophia chuckled. "Titles are heavy," she said. "Let's just start with music." They did. Michael learned C first. Then G. Then a tiny melody that felt like the inside of sunlight. He still used the board. He still tapped. But sometimes, late in the afternoon, he tried. Small words. High. More. Safe. And once, terrified and proud. Sophia. She turned away to hide tears that felt like home. Rich versus poor doesn't end with a court case. It lives in the 1,000 choices that come after. Robert started over in little ways. He apologized to the staff. He met the gardeners by name. He asked what the piano needed to be tuned and listened to the answer. He hired Evelyn, the attorney, as counsel for a new foundation he funded to support nonverbal kids. He asked Sophia to design it with him. "Will people think this is guilt?" he asked. She shrugged. Maybe. Does that change what these kids need? He smiled. No. One evening, they gathered in the music room for Michael's first tiny recital. Just a few notes. A brave heart. Evelyn was there. John. Even the skeptical security guard leaned in the doorway. Michael pressed safe. Then he played the melody that felt like standing in warm rain. Robert's hand found Sophia's for a second. "Thank you," he whispered. "For staying." She squeezed once and let go. "For listening," she replied. Have you ever watched a house change because its heartbeat changed? The last note hung in the air. A beat. Then it settled into the wood. Into their chests. Into the city that was always listening anyway. Final thought for you. When power speaks and the poor are expected to be silent, who do you choose to hear? The loud certainty or the quiet courage? And if a voice finally breaks the silence in your life, what will you do with it?